Welcome to your MAPCON CMMS. For those logging in for the first time, we have provided this series of videos to assist users in setting up their new system. The company setup page is the first step of the setup wizard. In this step, simply add the name of your company or organization. After completing this, click the next heading labeled Email Setup. The next essential step in the setup wizard process is email setup. This is where users enter the POP3 email server information for their organization. This is used for receiving emailed work requests in MAPCON. If the information isn't known offhand, either contact your organization's IT department or simply leave blank for now and revisit this step at a later time. After completing this, click the next heading labeled Site Setup. The next step in the setup wizard process is site setup. In MAPCON, a site can be thought of as a physical location of a company. For example, a company might have two facilities, each in a different city or even a different country. Each facility could be considered its own site. Here, users enter the site ID or name and add a simple description of the site. After all the desired sites are filled in, either click Next to proceed to adding users into the system, or click Finish to be taken to the Let's Get Started screen. The next step in the setup wizard is to add users into the system. We see here that one user is already added with the credentials and information provided in the eval request. Click the fields to enter the appropriate information. To make this process faster and easier, go to the user's default page by clicking User Defaults at the top. Filling in these defaults will save a lot of time and retyping. As in all screens of MAPCON, the red fields must be entered before moving on. In fields under the Profile column, click the drop-down to choose the option most fitting for the user. To assign the same password to all MAPCON users, fill in this field with the desired password. Clicking this box will prompt users to change their password the next time they log in. Once all the desired users are added, click Next to begin listing assets or click Finish to return to the Let's Get Started screen. Setting up user defaults makes entering user and login information quick and simple. Once all the user defaults are set, click Next to begin listing your assets or click Finish to return to the Let's Get Started screen. Here, users can enter a list of equipment items. This list is just to get the users started with their system. To import a larger quantity of equipment items later, users with advanced utilities can upload equipment spreadsheets through the Excel import feature. To review equipment keywords options, click here. Click the Equipment ID field and enter a preferred identifier for the items. In most cases, this will be a number. In the next section, add a short description of what the item is. Next, click the keyword field to select an option from the drop-down. Finally, choose a zone that the equipment will belong to. Zones are only available in MAPCON Pro. To add even more details to the equipment items, double-click any of the red fields to bring up the traditional entry page for that item. If more information is added this way, be sure to click Save Record at the top before closing the window. Once all of the desired equipment items are added, click List Locations at the top to go to the List Locations screen. Click Next to begin creating PMs or click Finish to return to the Let's Get Started screen. Here, users can enter a list of locations to get started with into their MAPCON system. To review location keywords options, click here. Click the location field and enter an ID for the location. In the next section, add a short description for the location. Next, click the keyword field to enter an option from the drop-down. Finally, choose a zone that the location will belong to. Zones are only available in MAPCON Pro. Once all the locations are added, click Next to begin creating PMs, or click Finish to return to the Let's Get Started screen. Here, users can add PMs or preventive maintenance work orders for equipment items. In the title column, enter the desired name for the PM. In the next column, click the field and from the drop-down, select the piece of equipment the PM will be tied to. The next two fields will determine how often the PM will generate. How often refers to the time interval in which the PM will generate, while every will determine how many times the PM will generate within that time interval. For instance, selecting 1 and years will result in the PM generating once a year, and selecting 10 and days will ensure that the PM will generate every 10 days. Double-click the final field to schedule when the PM should generate for the first time. After this date, the PM will generate automatically according to the specifications set in the previous fields. If users wish to add in more PMs by location, they can click Location PMs at the top to navigate to that screen. Once all PMs are entered, click Next to begin maintenance, or click Finish to return to the Let's Get Started screen. Here, users can add in PMs or preventive maintenance work orders for locations. In the title column, enter the desired name for the PM. In the next column, click the field and from the drop-down, select the piece of equipment the PM will be tied to. The next two fields will determine how often the PM will generate. How often refers to the time interval in which the PM will generate, while every will determine how many times the PM will generate within that time interval. For instance, selecting 1 and years will result in the PM generating once a year, and selecting 10 and days will ensure that the PM will generate every 10 days. Double-click the final field to schedule when the PM should generate for the first time. After this date, the PM will generate automatically according to the specifications set in the previous fields. Once all the PMs are entered, click Next to start maintenance, or click Finish to return to the Let's Get Started screen. On the Let's Get Started screen, users will see a list of other areas in MAPCON that users can complete with their company or organization's information before getting started with MAPCON. This is the final screen of the Setup Wizard. This screen is similar to the Let's Get Started page, but has an additional setup status on the right. Sections that are completed with the necessary information will have a green check mark next to it. Sections that don't have any information added will have a red X next to them. Any issues or missing information will appear as a setup alert on the right of the screen. Users can choose to set up their mobile devices to run MAPCON Mobile from this screen, though this can be done later as well. Once all the information in the wizard is entered, click either Finish to be taken back to the Let's Get Started screen, or continue to your MAPCON main menu to begin using your MAPCON system. Enjoy your newly set up CMMS, and thank you once again for choosing MAPCON.